So I want to know, right, why we never see straight people come out in droves to criticize movies like the B movie, right? Like y'all will sit y'all kids down and have them watch two mice like kiss each other or a woman fall in love with a bee. Y'all will let them sit down and watch, Beauty frolic around with that beast. And y'all won't even blink. Y'all won't even blink. Like, it won't even come across your mind that you are literally watching this woman fall in love with a bee or whatever. And yet I have to sit around and hear y'all preach endlessly about how horrible and confusing it is for kids to see a lesbian couple, bro. Like, y'all have to be so for real.
Y'all know who I am, y'all know who I am. Adrian, I be in the cut, I sizzle with your man. Don't be mad at me because he recognized the brand.
Way back in 2018, I put out the first book in my Zoraxia series. I'm so excited to let you all know that the sequel to that book, Zoraxia, The Vengeance of Cold Wind, is out now. Anywhere you get your ebooks and audiobooks, you can find it there. I'm talking about Amazon, Audible, audiobooks.com, Google Play. Like, it's all there. Also, you can go to www.zoraxia.com to purchase it directly from my site. Check out my series, check out the first book, and make sure you get the second book because it's out now. I'm so excited.
And like, honestly, we shouldn't even be paying attention to what wasn't this man just partying with Trump at the crypto ball or at Trump's inaugural event at the crypto ball? Like, girl. So I guess he was on some podcast talking about how he's scared to bring his grandchildren to the movies after watching 2022's Lightyear. And it's just, I guess, Toy Story spinoff, whatever, featuring the voice of Chris Evans. So apparently the rapper brought his grandson to watch the animated movie, but did not expect to have to field questions about same-sex couples, as the movie features a montage in which two mothers are seen raising their child. So, and this is coming from Variety, link in description as usual. So this is Snoop talking. They're like, she had a baby with another woman. Well, my grandson in the middle of the movie is like, Papa Snoop, how does she have a baby with a woman? She's a woman. Snoop remembered thinking, oh, S, I didn't come for this, S. I just came to watch the movie. His grandson continued to double down on what he saw. So he's like his grandson is saying, like, they said she had a baby, or they just said she had a baby. They're both women. How does she have a baby? And so, like, we could stop here for a moment because I always find it so interesting how, like, straight people really live in another world, girl. Like, they live in another universe. But because, like, to go outside your house, right? And to be like, yo, like, to be so gagged, to be so surprised when you come into contact with any kind of, like, same-sex, anything, like, LGBT, anything, like, to be so uncomfortable, to be, oh my gosh, oh my God. And then meanwhile, like, queer people, we going out, we expect, you know what I mean? It's just such a completely different life, you know? Like, we gotta make sure we stay out of y'all way, versus y'all are so uncomfortable, so gagged, so, oh my gosh, when you see even a hint to in that direction. And so I think that's crazy. I think the second thing is that he has no answer. And like, we're going to, hold on. Because he said, it effed me up. Like, I'm like scared to go to the movies. Y'all throwing me in the middle of S that I don't have an answer for. It threw me for a loop. I'm like, what part of the movie was this? These are kids. We have to show this at this age? They're going to ask questions. I don't have the answer. I wonder what y'all tell them when y'all, like, when Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse start running around. Like, what do y'all tell them when they be like, oh, well, can mice talk? Like, are y'all well? What do you tell them when Beauty and the Beast come around and Miss Beast start talking and stuff? Like, what do you tell them? Like, I just don't understand how he's this gagged. And I think that is kind of, it just does such a disservice to kids, to me, because you are committed to, like, leaving them in the dark. Like, you have committed. What you mean you don't have no answer? You don't know how gay couples end up with kids? You don't have an answer? You can't answer that? You can't answer that? And so it leaves not only the kid in the dark on purpose, because, like, girl, what? But then it creates this atmosphere around gay couples, LGBT people, like it's oh my gosh, they're so weird and they're so strange. How do they have it? Oh my! Instead of just answering the kid's question, like okay, this. There's a whole list of there's a lot of ways that a gay couple can end up with a child. Like what are you talking about? And so it starts from here. Like literally, it starts right there in that moment where the homophobia is going to just continue. Because now Snoop acting like he didn't seen a pink unicorn flying away, girl. Like he didn't act like he, oh my gosh, how do I do? Meanwhile, queer people had to tolerate straight people in almost every piece of media we consume. This man, it is such a strange phenomenon. Like it's so interesting to watch to me. Cause I'm like, are y'all serious? Do you know how many movies I would not have watched? I would not be able to consume if I was gagging, if I was, oh my gosh, clutching my pearls every time a straight person came on the screen, girl. I would not be watching no movies. Like, what are you talking about? It's so weird. It's so weird to be watching dragons and to be, magic spells and, superheroes. But y'all gagging, y'all are just so shook at a lesbian couple. And then to like phrase it or frame it like, oh, these are kids. How dare y'all do it in front of kids? And meanwhile, it's just raising a child. Meanwhile, it's just existing as a queer couple. And that's how you follow that trail to the end. It just leads to the criminalization of your existence, you being in public, girl, like as a queer person. And so it's always weird, like the fake pearl clutching, acting like we ain't never seen or heard of queer people ever, and to act like, oh, well, we shouldn't talk to kids about the queer people that they're definitely going to see in their everyday life. Like, girl, when they walk across the street, girl, when they go to school, when they, like, what you mean? When they go to the grocery store? It's just so weird. Lightyear not only featured one of Disney and Pixar's most prominent LGBTQ characters, but it also depicted its first same-sex kiss in a movie. As reported by Variety, the moment sparked widespread controversy internally at Pixar after the studio considered cutting the same-sex kiss. Employees and allies at Pixar sent a joint statement to Walt Disney Company leadership, claiming that Disney executives had actively censored overtly gay affection in its feature films. They did not want Lightyear to be the latest example. The studio reinstated the kiss as a result. And so Chris Evans at the time had said, because he was in the movie, obviously, he said, I mean, it's great, as great as it is, and I've been asked the question a few times. It's nice and it's wonderful. It makes me happy. It's tough to not be a little frustrated that it even has to be a topic of discussion, that it is this kind of news. The goal is that we can get to a point where it is the norm and that this doesn't have to be some uncharted waters, that eventually this is just the way it is. That representation across the board is how we make films look. It's an honor to be a part of something that is taking those steps, but the goal is to look back on this time and just be shocked that it took us this long to get here. And yeah, so I know, like, as Snoop, like, what do we expect at this point? Like, especially if he is on Trump's sax, like, as a girl, like, especially if he is, right? Like, what do we expect from this man? But it is just so strange every time and annoying every time queer people existing or living their lives or raising kids, things that literally, straight people do all the time, when it's portrayed as this thing that's going to poison the minds of kids. It's just such a cop-out. And I think it does a disservice to kids and leaves them in ignorance and darkness. And then either, that kid grows up, they're queer, and now they got to deal with internal homophobia, or they they develop homophobia themselves. They make life harder for queer kids or whoever, other queer people. It's just, I think it's so corny. But yeah, that's it. Thank y'all so much for watching. Tell me what you think about all this in the comments, and make sure you have a good evening.
And a hater done with dealing. Y'all know who I am. Y'all